It's going. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
You guys were like in the dark, BTW. I can't barely see you.
So here's the thing. There is no light in the living rooms of this apartment complex.
They have these new things at IKEA called lamps.
I know, but you're just going to keep the flashlight on the whole time? It's like a rave now.
Yeah. Does this help? The stereotypical song.
My rave music was better.
Dance ever, though.
That's true. Her dance was better.
It was a lot of fist pumping.
You know
One
what?
more time.
Because I'm white. White people know how to rave, man.
Yep. EDM, nothing but white people.
I know.
That's a good point.
Finally, something I'm good at. A white people
Yes.
I know how to do.
Raving.
Glorious. This is going to be good. Kristen, what are you drinking this fine evening?
I'm drinking wine because it's 8 million degrees and I'm not at my house. And I didn't want to buy a bottle of whiskey for somewhere that I'm not going to be forever.
That's fair.
I have whiskey at my own home. So here's the thing. This summer, my roommate, she went to the desert with her family. And me and my other roommate, so I have 2 roommates. My other roommate have decided that our newest roommate, her name is Taylor, is lovely, but also very fancy. Fanciness. Like, she's very fancy. Ooh. So she goes to the desert. She's like, oh, I'm going to the desert with my family. She comes back with all of this alcohol. And she's like, well, my dad went to the store and bought all this alcohol that we were never going to drink, but they all had to fly home, and he gave it to me to drive home with. The alcohol she had was, like, very fancy scotch and, like,
And
I was like, oh, my gosh, you're so fancy.
Yeah.
But I'm home. I'm house sitting with these dogs who hate me, probably because I'm talking in this really high, weird voice. So I'm drinking wine. And this is the end of it. I've had an entire bottle.
What's the conclusion for all this?
I appreciate that you managed to circle back on that story because I'd forgotten where it had come from and where it was going.
Laddie's going viral by the end of this. I'm calling it.
I'm offensive. I'm offensed by that.
You're offense.
Oh, God.
You are a fence.
This is going to be a disaster.
Oh, goodness.
This is going to be a disaster in the best possible way. We're sitting in the dark. Kristen has already lost the ability to conjugate verbs.
No. I made up that word. I'm offensed. It's like the word that I made up for the last episode, which has now made us go super viral by 200 people. Is 200 people viral? I don't know.
I don't think that counts as viral. We did get a lot.
We'll agree to disagree on that, Corey.
Yeah, you know what? We gotta set reasonable goals. So 200 can be viral for us.
Yeah,
I feel like it is. I don't even have 200 friends. I don't want 200 friends, just to be clear.
Spoken like a true introvert.
Yeah, I feel like you have 200 friends though. Like everybody has 200
words.
Acquaintances.
On Sunday, so I'm house sitting, right? I'm house sitting, and so it's amazing because there's no people here, and I was like, oh my God, on Sunday I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay here all day eating. And my friend, it's her parents.
Oh, eating.
Yes. So my friend, it's her parents' house. She doesn't ever house it for them because she has kids and like a life or whatever. I don't. Mm-hmm. Text me on Sunday morning and it's like, hey, I'm going to bring the kids over to go swimming in a little bit. And I'm like, is that okay? And I'm like, I can't say no. Because I really don't have an excuse other than the fact that I've spent a lot of time with people lately and I don't want to talk to anyone. That's not an excuse. You know, like that's not the valid excuse would be like, oh, I'm throwing up or.
But socially it should be an excuse.
It should be.
It should be, but it's not. And so I was like, of course, bring them over. She's like trying to be nice because she knows me. So she's like, you don't even have to come downstairs. I'm like, that seems rude. I'm not going to do that. You know?
They just come in the house and you just stay in your little corner.
And I just like stay.
Quasimodo.
And like her kids are young and like they honestly weren't even here for that long. So in the grand scheme of my like day, it didn't really affect it. But there was a part of me that was like, I literally didn't want to speak to a human. That was my plan.
Why are these humans
I've ever had
in my house?
last June. I remember it distinctly. It was last June, and it was the week before I had a really big event at work. and I rode my bike to the beach, and it was like this beautiful day, and the only words I said out loud all day were thanks to the guy at 7-Eleven when I bought my Slurpee on the way home. That was it.
You reserved the word specifically for him, too.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I did it carefully. I didn't even say thank you. I said thanks.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
you were really
You
being stingy with your words.
I'm surprised you didn't just say
One word.
TY and leave.
One
TY.
syllable. I said about the amount of words that Kurt Russell uttered in Soldier. That's the amount of words.
Wow. You're Ryan Gosling in Drive.
You're Keanu Reeves in real life.
True.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Anyway.
Today we're here having our whiskey and our wine to celebrate the beginning of this season of Drunk History, which is, of course, a favorite.
You guys watched the episode.
Watched the episode.
Oh my gosh,
This guy did not.
Not yet. I love Derek Waters. I can't wait.
Jerry,
Yeah,
it's pretty good. The guys he has.
Is it?
It's great because which I think it was the second episode, or not episode, but a second story. You know, he usually does multiple stories. So the episode is called Great Escapes, and so it's all these escapes, which is funny because the last one is like kind of an escape, but not necessarily like what you would think of. And really, the second,
it's not like a breakout.
Like a breakout.
The third one is my favorite. We'll get there.
Yeah, but the second one is so great because the guy does my favorite thing is when he starts like hiccuping or like doing something where he's like, oh, here come hiccups, and he's like can't get rid of that.
I'm so hoping that happens
up.
Tonight with Lottie.
Yeah, I'm predicting Kristen will unintentionally be reenacting that episode of Drunk History.
It's like my favorite thing, and I was laughing. I laughed pretty hard. You guys, this show's like so great. And I think actually, Emily, a couple weeks ago had posted something on my wall where someone in her staff meeting brought something up about.
It was
this is a
good story.
I know, but it was funny because the only thing she knew about it was from Drunk History, so they brought up a story.
It was the LAPD being created in America or in California. That's what it was. I remember that.
The LAPD.
Oh, that's so funny. It's so funny.
Okay, we haven't gone to the comedy part of it, but
that makes no sense. I didn't see this. What's the story, Jerry?
Okay, so
let Jerry tell the story here, Kristen.
All right, so my wife, who works at a very, very, very extremely conservative workplace, someone brought up the concept of how the LAPD was starting in California, and Emily wanted to be like, yeah, I know where that came from. And they weren't talking about Drunk History, but Emily learned it from Drunk History. The fact is drinking there is seen as Satan. So, of course, Emily, with her genius brilliance of knowledge that came from the encyclopedia called Comedy Central, that's where she wants to come out with. But
she should have just said a documentary, because if you think about it, technically...
That's a good point.
They are
kind
documenting
of a documentary stuff.
Yeah, what are you eating?
Popcorn. But I got Old Maids. I think it's
it actually.
Yeah, it looks like
microwave. I think
it was an Abraham Lincoln shaped popcorn.
Is it like Monster popcorn?
No, it's just regular popcorn.
Oh my God, it's gonna give you powers. I can't wait.
Boring powers.
I wish, but I told you this microwave I think gives me lots of Old Maids because I put it on just the popcorn setting.
Old Maids is what she calls unpopped popcorn.
Oh my gosh, that is the most
That's not what I call
it.
That is what you call them.
No
one calls it that.
How old was the person you learned this from?
Can we do a poll, please?
Okay. Yeah, let's do a poll.
Bree knew what it was.
Bree knew you call it.
Bree knew what it was.
Bree knew you called it that. Not that it was a thing in existence.
Yeah.
I don't know what convalescent home you got it from. But let's do a poll from people who aren't currently in our
Jerry, how dare you?
If you watch or listen to this, tell us if Old Maids is a thing you've ever heard popcorn
that doesn't
unpopped.
pop.
I bet everybody has, so.
Okay, well, so far you're 2 for 3 on people who have ever heard this term.
Well, that's ridiculous.
I'm just saying. And you're spanning both ends of the country here. I would think that Massachusetts is old-timey.
Hi, Luke. Hi, Melanie.
I meant like of people you've pulled so far, but yes, also the world.
Yeah,
Luke, Melanie,
yeah,
Eleni, people everywhere who are listening to us in various
you know what,
countries.
Eleni?
There's an Eleni, yes.
There's a Melanie and an Eleni?
And an Eleni. Eleni is from England, or she's from Cyprus, but lives in England.
She is?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know her. How come I don't know her?
I don't know. Sorry, Eleni.
Hey. Hello. I feel like Corey has hoarded you. That's rude.
I've hoarded her. I apologize, and I could be saying it wrong. Maybe it's Eleni.
Eleni.
Could be Eleni. I'm not sure.
Oh, don't put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Nary an
episode
quote. Passes where Kristen does not quote that.
Hey, that's a great obscure quote.
Every episode, I try to sneak it in. I snuck it in the last episode, and also I hope to do it in the next one as well.
Great Mike Myers scene.
Yeah. So can I tell you
really quick before we keep going? Can we cheers Avery Holton, who was unable to make it with us tonight?
Avery, yes, Avery was supposed to be with us.
Avery, this is for you. We're going to take us a drink for you.
We love you. For you.
You're awesome.
I got a refill.
We love you dearly.
This is like shot number 7.
Continue on your battle, sir.
Continue on your battle, for sure. We miss you. We love you. We'll see you soon when you beat this thing.
Indubitably.
So in the episode of Drunk History, one thing that I want to point out, so the third story in it is about the Titanic, which is always my favorite thing in the world to discuss. I love Titanic things. And here's the thing. So my thought process, because I'm kind of like perpetually assuming that I'm going to die in some terrible circumstance, like a plane crash or something like that.
Perpetually concerned are hoping.
Question. Wait, hold on. Does death feel so much
like a memory? Or is it going to get me
all
my pizza over to make a memory? Okay.
When's it going to get me?
My sleep said Okay, let's not get me and Corey rapping on this one. Before Corey goes on in this one, I think there's a story that she needs to bring up about the time where she was on a flight and she had a mysterious text about from her husband predicting her untimely death.
I think
That's actually one of my favorite things that's ever happened.
And I've told it before, but for those who maybe have not heard me tell this story, I am terrified of flying. I do it all the time, but every single time I get on a plane, I'm convinced this is my death. Like, it's not even a question. I am going to die when I get on this plane.
I say goodbye instead of see you later to her for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, it's just
because you're Jerry.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
I'm an asshole. I am an asshole, yeah.
I'm an asshole. So I was on the way to a flight somewhere, going by myself, probably out to Austin to see my dear friend Chelsea, I imagine. And in the car on the way there, the songs that kept coming on the radio were all like John Denver came on. So it was like straight out of Final Destination.
Richie Valens.
You're like, are you serious?
The Big Bopper.
Right now? I was like,
Aaliyah. Yeah. Did Aaliyah come on?
Aaliyah came on. Yeah.
Oh, baby girl.
There is no station that is going to play John Denver and Aaliyah on it. So
okay. You're not listening to my Spotify then.
Yeah. I'm gonna cry right now. I love Aaliyah so much. She
actually is.
She may.
I was like, I just loved her.
This is really...
She was amazing. Can I tell my story, Kristen?
I mean,
I love it.
Let it happen, Cora. This is going viral.
All right. If I do it in the style of Aaliyah, will that help? I was on my way to the airport that day. And so John Denver plays on the radio. Then another song, I don't know who it was, sounded like Neil Youngish or something like that. But the lyrics were, "I'll never see her again," in the chorus. And I was like, oh no. No. And I'm like, that's two things. But I'm like, it's fine. You're going to be fine, Corey. It's okay.
Corey, you're not going to be fine.
Yeah. So we get to John Wayne.
Obviously.
We get to John Wayne.
Out right now. Lay down.
I get
already 8 times today.
This is happening. This is happening.
This is the longest 3-second story in the history of time. So I get to John Wayne, get dropped off, all that stuff. I'm sitting there and my sweet husband decides to text me, a little assurance or whatever. I open up my phone and it says, "I loved you." Past tense.
I loved you. That's I love you.
Yeah. I was like, what? He was like, I meant love. I meant love you. I was like, that's it. I'm dying. Good night, sweet prince. We're out.
The best part was you actually texted that to me before you were boarding, and my only response was, "Well, that sucks." And then you boarded. I'm like, not even consoled.
That's gonna be the last thing you said to me.
That sucks. The chorus. Well, that sucks.
Jerry's the worst.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You're the worst.
But me and Corey are the epitome of the comics where it says friends versus best friends.
It's true. Yeah, exactly.
That is true.
Perpetually ruining my life. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, you would rather your final text message to me say that sucks or sucks to be you than like love you.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Hands down.
You know why?
Go ahead.
I don't know. I just feel like...
Sorry, my high pitch laugh came out in that one.
I just feel like it's much truer to the relationships.
Unless you're Fancave.
Like, I don't say like, "Oh my god, I love you guys." Also, I'm not like a big person that says that. I don't say it a lot. And
I know, every time you do, I feel very
like,
special. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like better that he's like, "Nah, that sucks."
Peace out, bitch.
And we can like, yeah, right?
Call
like,
your dog when you get
can take consolation the fact that when we tell that story at your funeral, like people are gonna laugh hysterically.
Exactly.
It's so funny.
See, this is it. You've already assumed I'm going to die before all of you.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Yes. Very much so. I'm not a betting man, but if I'm playing the odds.
Commentary on like America right now, but
are we getting to history tonight?
I'm white, so I'm gonna live longer than you.
That's a really good point. Okay, well, yeah.
And I only say that because I watched that video of that young girl in Charlotte, not to be a bummer, and I wept like a child.
Whoa!
Wow. Oh,
womp womp. Do we have sound cues on here anywhere?
We
should. My soundboard missed up.
I know, right?
Let's move on to something else because that's not funny. It's sad, and I don't want to talk about it.
Cameron Lewis, if you're here, we would love your editing abilities to put in some wonderful sound effects to this.
Listen, I have a soundboard. I just haven't used it yet.
Can we talk for a second about how Cameron Lewis has a girlfriend that he's like super in love with, and it's the cutest thing that's ever happened to the internet that everyone knows him.
I love that.
I love it so much. Usually I hate it, but I love it in his instance.
It's true. No, I'm with you on that. Cameron Lewis, check out his show if you're not familiar with it. We've had him on here. We've talked with him on his show.
No, we haven't had him on here because he's never shown up when we asked him.
I thought we did have him once.
You guys had him once.
No.
Well, anyways.
Just kidding.
Cameron Lewis is great. And
don't listen to his show. What a douchebag.
What? I produced that show.
Well, he hasn't
shown up. You should listen to it, and I'll tell you why. Because he's delightful. And I feel like he needs to tweet more about Burlington Coat Factory.
That's true. We have been lacking in
Lord knows he doesn't do that enough. But he does it with James Lott, who is the most wonderful human being on earth, and I'm excited for their new show.
Yes. So check that out.
Oh, James.
Hey, so Titan. Oh, by the way, the whole point of that story
your favorite
that I
thing in the
was
world.
telling is that my sort of perspective on things is if I'm going to die in something like that, a plane crash, a boat, or whatever, I just want to get trashed. Like, I just don't want to be aware that it's happening to me.
What was so great about it? I loved it.
And so this story from the Titanic on Drunk History this time has this man who was apparently the last man off of the Titanic who was completely schwasty.
Awesome.
And therefore, he got schwasty.
He got schwasty.
We were hearing from a drunk man about a drunk man who was the last man off of the Titanic. I'm like, could bitch even remember?
Could bitch even remember?
Maybe someone else saw him come off the Titanic. I don't know. At the end of this story, essentially being completely wasted at this point, he's helped several people onto lifeboats and then just sort of gently walks into the water, and because he's not aware that he's cold, is just like happy as can be, waiting to be rescued by the Carpathia. Yeah.
That's so great.
It was, and so that validated me. I'm like, exactly. So like, worst case scenario, you die, but you're like, cool, whatever, I am drunk. Best case scenario,
you save people.
You survive and save people.
I guess that turns to the question for all of us: how do we want to go down? I mean, I watched the Titanic, and I'm like, okay, this is the only time in my life I ever wanted to learn an instrument, because I wanted to be one of the 4 guys going down with an instrument. There. But Corey has changed my mind. From now on, I want to be the guy that's so drunk, I am killing it at karaoke as we're going down. Yes. Don't Stop Believing.
Straight
That up. Is the new life goal.
Yeah, no, that's it. Right there.
I would
imagine this so much it seems more like a memory. I'm sorry. Continue.
This is where it gets me. In my sleep, 7 feet ahead of me.
If I see it coming, do I run or do I beat? Is it
like a beat without a melody? See, I never thought I'd live past 20. Where I come from, some get half as many.
Ask anybody why live it fast, do we laugh? Reach for it, to make laugh. That's plenty.
That's plenty. Scratch that. This is not a moment. This is a movement.
Okay, Kristen, how are you going down?
So how are you going down, Kristen?
Here's how I would like to go down. I would like to go down blowing up. Because I feel like you're like, I want to be that guy.
Like you're not aware it's happening.
Yeah, I want to, no. I want to be that person that's like, hey, everyone, clear the building. Shh, it's about to go down.
Oh, you want to be the hero. The
and I want you to all leave. I'm going to stay here and defuse the bomb. But you know, on the TV show, they always defuse it.
Yeah.
But I don't defuse it.
But you don't know how to do that. So clearly you just blow up.
She wants the one that goes down as a champ, not a chump.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're going in some kind of big way.
Yeah.
Not going in a big way.
Like in our sleep, obviously.
It's like my dream way, as if like, because I've been watching a lot of Quantico lately.
Oh, God.
But if I haven't been watching Quantico, I honestly kind of want to die young, because all the old people I talk to are like, don't get old. And I'm like,
I know, right?
Okay.
Oh, I told you guys about me and Emily's plan, right? When we hit 88.
Are you going to pull a fastball? They made up their minds.
No, we're pulling heat.
And they started packing.
Oh, no, we're pulling heat. Like, we're going straight up heat. Like, we're going down on Blaze of Glory, Reservoir Dog style.
Okay.
I told him when we hit 88 and we're both, like, so healthy that we're like, God, we're not going to die for another 30 years. Straight up heat style. And we will die holding hands with 2 assault rifles in our hands.
Okay. Well, that's very American.
Yeah, right? Very American. It is our Second Amendment right.
By then, you won't have any guns, so you won't be.
That's true. That's a good point.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
No.
Also, there won't be like police or anything. They'll just like send like a drone thing that like vaporizes you on contact.
I also say this, but I'm the laziest person in the world, so I'll die playing Grand Theft Auto instead. So you know.
Oh, God, I hope it's not a drone. I don't want to die by a drone.
What?
If it gets really good video, it's okay.
No,
I'll tell you what. We all hit 88. We hit 90 something. You guys are 80 something.
When I die, I want people to understand, like, what human life means. You know,
your death.
You
really
want a thinking death.
Your death has a lot to live up to. Don't set the standards too high.
No, I say aim for the sky.
Die, so I can set the standard as high as I fucking want, Jerry. We should probably put a parental advisory on this episode because I've been drinking lots of history.
If people aren't parental, they're idiots.
If they're not parental?
Damn sure you heard me. Move
on. Young knuckleheads and local parentis.
Oh my God!
Okay. Can we just explain how amazing that line is? That's literally in Latin. He's telling him he's their daddy.
Yeah.
That's the best line.
Here's the thing. I probably spent the better part of 4 days on my way home from work memorizing that song.
Hey!
Nicely done. We're going to perform it live in downtown Anaheim. All of us.
That song is from Hamilton, obviously. It's
it's My Shot.
My Shot. Yep.
So we're
amazing. And it's because I felt like it was important. And I haven't made it through I made it through about half. About half-ish, except I honestly want to be real honest with you?
Memorizing the song, Jerry. Get on board.
Oh.
My white rhythm cannot figure out. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
My
is,
gosh.
That's
No,
a toughie.
That's not a white rhythm.
I can barely
it is a white
figure out
rhythm.
how to clap on beats to normal songs, and there's something about it that eludes me.
No, I'll give her credit on Wait For It. Wait For It's a
hard.
whole new level of rhythm. That's not just white rhythm.
It's hard.
I mean, I'm Latino and I know what rhythm is, and that's a beast.
It's true.
Right hand. Thank you, Jerry. Because right hand man, I figured out my shot. I figured out air. I figured out all of them.
Yeah, you've got the cabinet battles.
You did your part, laddie.
Although I'll be honest, Guns and Chips, I just literally can't speak as fast as him.
Oh, unless you listen to Outkast since you were like 18, you're not gonna.
Yeah, this is a very good point.
Yeah,
Which I did.
And you have to do the French accent.
Oh
too.
no, I'm done with that.
I'm taking these.
It's not only okay. My friend Tyra, I told her so when we were I went right. Remember, I backpacked down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon this summer. When I was down there was this one student who's like one of my favorite. I mean, I'm not supposed to pick favorites, but they don't listen to this, so they don't care.
Yeah, no.
Obviously.
One of my favorite students. His name was Brian. Ironically, not the same as a different Brian.
Not your Brian.
Not my Brian, but a different Brian. He's like classic kid. And he was the only other one in the entire camp that loved Hamilton. And I was like, Brian.
We're homies.
And it was one of those things where like I was actually friends with his brother. And then I realized I'm like, actually, I think I like you better. Let's you and I be friends now. That's what we should do.
Sorry, Brian's brother.
That happens.
And like the whole week I spent the week, like me and him would be like, we kept doing, all we did was the Alexander Hamilton. Me and him, I was trying to teach it to him. Like nobody else cared but me and him.
They're not easy flows.
No.
They're not. There was a point to the story.
Oh gosh, it's gone.
We have gone so far.
We have not even hit Tipsy history outside of the one story.
History. Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
this is a lame
how would
story
you die
anyway.
on the Titanic?
That's okay. Hey, Kristen, let's start
the other
talking
thing.
some history.
One quick story before we get to that. That caption of Leonardo DiCaprio talking with Barack Obama, and people are like, oh, caption this. I've seen at least 3 people on Twitter be like, dude, Jack and Rose could have totally fit on that door.
I have never seen this photo, but I approve of the conversation nonetheless.
Okay.
I get the idea.
Photo, it's so Leonardo DiCaprio's doing some kind of like summit about, the environment.
Environmental things.
I'm not trying to
I see where this is going now. But yeah, I've never seen the meme.
So this picture, and you see him, and he's kind of got his hands crossed. He's listening to Barack Obama. And President Obama is like obviously talking to him intensely, and and people's captions keep being. Of the like 3 times I've seen this picture, all 3 captions have been Rose and Jack could have totally fit on that door.
That's true. Yeah, we're never gonna get over that. I mean,
obviously,
I imagine 100 years from now, people will still be myth busting that whole thing.
I agree.
If they could fit on that thing. Kristen, hey, we're gonna talk about some of our favorite stories from history. Obviously, we're in a solid spot.
Let's go
to talk about it. So, Kristen, why don't you start? What's one of your favorite stories from history?
I'm going to start with my favorite Civil War history story.
What? Surprised.
Fun fact. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I super love the Civil War. If you didn't, now you know.
What?
Yeah.
And if you don't know, now you know, Mr. President.
Mr. President. Here's the thing. There was this thing, and it's very special, and it's called the SO Special Orders 191.
Goodbye, glasses.
Now we need business. The glasses have come off.
General Lee wrote these orders, okay? So this is before the Battle of Antietam. Mm-hmm. He writes these orders, and they're supposed to be dispersed to his generals. So it's supposed to go to one of his generals. They actually never make it there. Oh, this is a good
story. Sorry, I just realized what story you're telling. Continue.
And they never make it there. But the general who was supposed to receive them didn't realize it because he'd actually received orders from...
Yeah, this is a good story.
So he actually hasn't realized that he never received orders. But General Lee had sent him orders, and so it's basically this entire battle plan of how so if you guys don't know, General Lee during the Civil War, I guess I should also make that known.
Give some background.
America. Okay, so from the Civil War, he was really big on splitting his army, which was a no-no especially back in the day, because this is Civil War debatably can be seen as one of the first considered modern warfare, but also by others is not. So debatably modern warfare. But he would split his armies often because he was aware of his opponent. So specifically in these Lost Orders 191, he laid out his entire battle plan for what he was going to do. What happens is some Union soldiers kind of stumble upon this camp that's been abandoned by Confederate soldiers, and they find some cigars, and they're like, sweet. About the Union Army, they didn't get a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for?
This could be a while.
You can do it.
Not casual. They didn't get a lot of frivolities, or
as in oh yeah, I see what you vices.
they didn't get a lot of stuff.
Things they do for fun.
Have a lot of
leisure.
Things of leisure, right? So they find these cigars, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, we found some cigars, right?"
All right.
Open them up. They're like, "What's this weird paper?" Open it up. Look at the paper. They realize it's General Robert E. Lee's entire plan for the army, right? For the Confederate Army, where they're going to be, what they're going to do. Boom. And they're like, holy shit. Jackpot. What do they do with it? They're like, let's take it to the top. Unfortunately, the top was someone, I don't know if you've heard of him. Maybe if you're from America and or like the Civil War, you've heard of him. His name was George B. McClellan, and he was an asshole. And also the worst. So I actually took a class about the Civil War, and apparently, and I didn't know this was a thing, I was known for the fact that in the middle of a class, I yelled. And I didn't doing this, but it also sounds like something I would do. But I was like, oh, McClellan is the worst.
That's what we got out of this.
I would say, I don't remember that happening, but I think it's because I sat next to you, and therefore I heard you say that so many times it didn't even stand out.
And you didn't know who I was, and so it
okay. But at that point,
whoa.
So I'm gonna just glance over that. So, right. So McClellan was kind of the worst. So he gets these plans, and if you know anything about General George McClellan, is that he was kind of the worst. So he never thought he had enough guys. When in reality, his troops...
No.
We
were getting to the best part of this.
I gotta get more. Kristen,
back up.
Kristen, hold on.
Lateral, back up.
Back up. Sorry, it froze while you were telling that story. So, what did she
So
just say?
General George
She's talking about
McClellan
McClellan to be the Okay, there it
never
is.
thought he had enough guys.
There we go.
Is the point. Okay?
Yeah.
He never thought he had enough guys. So this is one of those great what ifs in history. You know how sometimes people will make those kind of statements, historians will come and be like, what if?
Yeah.
And then blank. This is one of those what ifs kind of things where they're they look at this information, they're like, what if McClellan had, against his better nature, which was nature, because he never thought he had enough guys, he never thought he was good enough, he spent all of his time just training and never actually putting his troops into battle. What if McClellan had taken the information, his forces were divided and struck?
Right.
He even wrote to Lincoln at the time, hey, beat Bobby Lee, right? That's what they called Robert E. Lee, and that was his nickname.
Bobby Lee.
If I can't beat Bobby Lee on this, what the hell am I doing? And I'm like, right, George, what the hell are you doing? Because guess what? You don't beat Bobby Lee. You get fucking mucked up in all the shit, and you don't beat him. And it goes on for another 2 years.
That's
3 years. Right? So no, you don't. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Okay, I think at this point
also,
in the
I
show,
can see your faces.
At this point in the show, we need to have one of those E/I's on the screen because this
education initiative.
This is such an education initiative situation.
Yeah.
We need to be like
this should be on with Saturday morning Jeff Corwin.
Oh, totally. This is.
And so what's great about it is because it is definitely one of those like beautiful moment, like kind of like almost turning points of like, what if he had actually used the information and trusted it to be what it was, which was.
How many lives would he have saved?
If he had trusted it, could he have made a real impact instead of then the war dragging on? And what's happening?
Stop it. Don't worry about
it. Nothing. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I feel like you guys are making fun of me. I can't tell why.
It was more respecting you than making fun of you. The use of the microphone in that instance was incredible.
Anyway,
really
impressive.
The point is this.
I felt
I'm surprised how the communications degree on top of that.
McClellan's troops then got bogged down in his waiting period, or maybe not. Like I said, it's one of those great moments. That's what you guys. Here's a thing that I feel like people don't understand about history, and I just want you guys to understand it. So I would really like you, please, to just listen to me, even if you don't like history.
Listen now.
No matter where you are.
Important lesson.
Here's the thing. History is stories, and they're told by real people. Jerry, I really need you to listen to me.
I'm trying.
You guys, what's so great about them is this, and it's this. What's so great about them is the fact is that they're filled with these human experiences that could have gone either way. And who would have been right? We don't know, because really history is written by the people who won it. And I know that's been said, I know that sounds like a cliche, but the thing is, like, there's so many possibilities, and there's so many things that just come out of it. And it's like a beautiful, like, growing microcosm. That's my favorite word. It was something I just made up.
We need sound effects so bad. We need sound effects so bad for this story.
History lives, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful, and it gives you perspectives from everybody, and you can read them. You can
Marley,
decide,
if you're not watching, please.
You can read them and be like, yeah, screw George McClellan. That guy's the worst. Or you can be like, you know what? He was trying to save people's lives, and he made the right decision by being calm and collected and trying to think through it. I don't agree with that. I just want that to be known.
Obviously, yeah.
That could be the way that you take it. And that's what's so amazing about it, is that you get to hear from people who were there and understand like what they were thinking, and try and put yourselves in their shoes and put yourself in a place that's not your own. And I think that if we were better about putting ourselves in other people's shoes in history, then in present day America and wherever you live, it would make us better people, because we could say like, hey, you know what? I've never understood your experience, but I can put myself there, and I can empathize with you, and I can understand what you say. And I feel like we lose that in our modern day history classes, because we teach them facts, we teach them dates, we teach them times, we teach them things that happen.
Well, it's not even like facts that they teach them. They teach them the specific facts. That's, the winners.
Which is great. Yes. Okay, fine. You can teach them A, B, and C. Like, yes, right. We won, we lost, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But if you really allow your students to like engage in the material and to really understand, what happened and what could have happened if something else had gone down, like you're giving them something that's really useful, I think, for in their present day lives, where they could look at things and say, you know what, I haven't experienced something that my friend has experienced, but that doesn't mean that I can't understand where they're coming from. And I feel like I'm getting off on a tangent here, but that's what I feel like one of those. Do it. Great about what's so great about history, guys, is the fact that it is arguable. There are people who will look at one event, they'll see the outcome of it, and they'll say, yeah. I mean, that's what we hear, and they'll give you all these other things. And what's great about that is it makes you realize that there's not just one perspective from the way history went. You look at Columbus's history and you see him being like, hey, we arrived in America. We showed all these natives great things. You look at the history from the natives' perspective, and they're like, fuck this guy. He showed up and killed everybody and took all of our shit. Like, he's the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Give them both of those. And you're going to have people who say, like, yeah, but without Columbus, what would we have? And then you give the people, the natives, the Americans' perspective, and they're like, yeah, but if he hadn't come, what would we have? We don't, you don't know that answer. But
the fact that there's a holiday based on a one-sided perspective is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, and I agree with you. And I think one of my biggest issues with the way history is taught today is that you're taught to learn towards a test, which is wrong because I feel like you lose all of the passion, all of the information that could come from learning from, like, the side that lost, whatever that conflict, whatever that instance is. You've lost that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish we could go to a place where we could say, hey, here's an event. Here's 3 perspectives. Pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one. One of them is
that's what American Studies is for, Kristen. All you out there trying to decide on your major, American Studies.
Cal State Fullerton students.
I want you guys to think. But I'm really urging you, people who are probably old and don't care enough anymore, but I want you to think. I want you to read different perspectives, and I want you to think and make a decision. That's what's great about history, and I wish people would love it more because it makes you think critically about events and realize that there's more than one person who saw that event. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yep. I feel like I've gotten carried away and I've talked for
folks, for this past 2 or 3 minute rant, this is something that's important. I think it's a rant worth listening to.
Thanks, Jerry. Anyway, that's it.
No, I'm being serious. Like, I know Lydi's not a person who normally goes off on things like this.
If I'm going to teach you one thing, it's this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
George McClellan was a fucking asshole. He probably
that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway.
He saw a fucking pair of balls and figured it out. The end.
Well, folks, sorry, I retract what I said. The takeaway is George McClellan's an asshole. So I withdraw the mic drop from earlier of her rant about education and how we've misinterpreted it. I want you to know this. And I want to pick up the mic again and drop it for George McClellan is an asshole. That's where the real mic drop is at.
But also, if someone wants to argue with me, I will think you're wrong. But we can totally talk about it.
Whoa. These opinions and aspects are not represented by Electric Fancave and Electric Peace, but they are.
How dare you?
the opinions.
Jerry, as our guest, you just endorse everything.
You endorse us.
You're right. These are the opinions.
You're not producer Jerry here. We have a producer, and her name is Bree.
Cameron Lewis Show. Listen to it. These are not the
opinions
and responsibilities of the show.
Anyway, why doesn't someone else share their favorite story?
Okay, well, see, now I feel a little.
Favorite story,
I feel a little bad because the stories that I picked are not nearly as historically significant, nor do they contain nearly as much of a moral.
No. I've got one that's super unmoral, so don't worry about it.
Okay, great.
Hey.
Speaking of morals, the story I would like to tell first is of moral panic, which is amongst my favorite things. And I actually told this story to my students in the I teach at a university, Cal State Fullerton.
Enroll in her classes. Enroll in her classes.
But also, the views of this podcast are not endorsed by the California State University system.
Disclaimer.
But I told this story at the beginning of my class this semester in my Intro to American Studies class, and that is of the bestiality panic of Puritan America.
Tell the story. It's so good. 1600s.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And so we're looking at it's 1642. We're looking at New Haven, Connecticut, and there's a pig that is born that looks super weird. And I'm gonna read the direct quotation of what this pig looked like because I feel like it matters in how this unfolded. So the pig apparently, had no hair on the whole body. The skin was very tender and of a reddish-white color like a child's. The head was most strange. It had but one eye in the middle of the face, and that large and open, like some blemished eye of a man.
No!
Yeah. Over the eye, in the bottom of the forehead, which was like a child's, a thing of flesh grew forth and hung down. It was hollow, and like a man's instrument of generation.
No.
I'm going to let you sit with that euphemism.
What is an instrument of generation supposed to mean?
Let's just say it's someone,
are you asking that question for real? Or
Question, was it a thumbs up?
The instrument of generation. A thumbs up.
Yes. That sounds like a 1970s euphemism.
Yeah. A man's instrument of generation.
Tell me more.
A nose, mouth, and chin deformed, but not much unlike a child. The neck and ears had also such resemblance. So, this pig is born that looks like this. And there's a dude in town named George Spencer, poor guy, who's missing an eye. And then on the other side, his eye is deformed. And the town decides, hey, George Spencer and this pig look alike. And so they're like, well, clearly the reason that they look alike is because this pig is this dude's son.
No.
Yeah.
Man, bear, pig.
Man, bear, pig. This is, so they decide that clearly he has procreated with this pig, and that's why it looks that way. I don't know how to get rid of whatever this is on my screen. I just put I put a frame around Jerry.
Corey, because you're ashamed of my color doesn't mean you should color my face.
Anyways, so they decide that this pig is the son of this dude because they share the same deformities.
I mean,
which is every kind of offensive.
That goes beyond witch hunting. That's pig hunting. And I mean, come on.
And there's no room for that in polite society.
No room for pig hunting.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time.
I mean, come on.
Pig hunting.
I mean, literally, it's a phrase I just recreated because I created now because it's that offensive.
Yeah.
Witch hunting was
Make
the
it a
old
thing.
way.
Hashtag pig hunting.
Hashtag pig hunting is the new way of hunting down
Although,
people.
technically, the pig thing came before the witch thing.
I don't care.
I just want to.
We don't know when witches started. Witches could have been ancient. Witches are
Touche.
Touche. We don't know.
Well, if we listen to Harry Potter, they've gone back lots of years.
Thank you, laddie. Anyway, back to it. Pig hunting is now the new thing of being super racist.
So, anyways, George Spencer is put on trial for doing it with a pig and making deformed offspring. And so he's like, hey, I didn't do that. But then the magistrate is like, listen. If you confess your sin, then mercy's going to be given to you. And the guy's like,
no. Mercy killing.
well, that sucks, but I guess if that's what's going to get me off, then yeah, sure, I did it with a pig. Why not? Like, okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be killed.
You're not gonna
Mercy kill.
Fine, right?
Right. You know, like you say what you got to say in order to not be killed. But then the government there, the court system is like, psych, what we meant was the Lord will forgive you for your sins, but this is a hanging offense. You gonna die.
Here's the bullshit about
it's
that.
It's a mercy killing.
If Jesus is gonna forgive you,
then like we should, right?
Why aren't you also forgiving?
Yeah.
Well, let's not go that.
Yeah. I mean, that's like clearly, obviously, the underlying theological issue here, but
think about it for 1 second. This is a lesson you should all learn. If Jesus is gonna forgive you, you should also forgive people.
Okay, well, this brings me back to a time when we were all at our wonderful university. I'm not going to name what it was. But when we had to address...
a long
time ago.
In a galaxy far away.
When we had to address, because there were a lot of frustrated men there, when we had to address the time that as an RA, that the sinks were clogged at the bathrooms because of certain actions that were happening, one of the things that we said...
Because of all the hair going down the drain?
Yeah, the hair. That's it. Not frustratedly sexual men is going to cause it. Yeah, it's the hair that's going to cause it, laddie. Let's go with that. So one of the things that we would tell the residents to screw with them was, you're going to make what's called pregnant fishies.
Oh no, and they probably believed it because biology is not
What's
taught
worse,
in
the
our
fact that we said that and they believed it, or they clogged the toilet or clogged the drains that way?
I mean, that's impressive.
What's worse?
What that is. Oh God. Christian universities, folks.
Welcome
Welcome to our lives.
Which one it was.
Yeah, an unnamed one.
Okay.
But anyways, so he confesses to this. They're like, JK, we're gonna hang you anyway, but have fun in heaven. Because that's where you're going now. And he's like, no. So he recants. He's like, I did not do this. Now, at the time, the law was such that you needed 2 witnesses to convict anyone of a capital offense.
Great law.
And they were like, well, crap, now we don't have a capital offense. The first witness, of course, is everyone saying, hey, that pig looks like you. And then they need someone who either saw it or your own confession. But they were like, but he did confess at first, so that's 2 witnesses, and they hanged him.
Hung him.
And the pig. No, hanged.
Is it?
Yes, it's hanged.
Ba-na-na-na.
Yes. They hanged him and the pig. Look at this. This is so educational. E/I, you guys. E/I. They hanged him and the pig for the offense. So that happened. And then, though, another guy who was named Thomas Hogg with 2 G's, but
That seems
legitimately,
a little bit like they set him up.
it's a little on the
They
nose.
set this guy up.
It's a little on the nose.
Thomas Bestiality. Is that your real last name?
Bestiality.
Bestiality. That's what I think. Bestiality. Sorry, that's good.
No, Thomas Hogg, he was tried for a similar crime.
Why
I
are
like
you-
this even more because, I mean, I'm sad for the other guy. He died. That sucks. I like this story because Thomas Hogg here, he wore a steel truss under his pants that was supposed to keep his hernia in line. He had a hernia. This was keeping everything tight. But the problem was this steel truss was pretty taxing on his pants. And so when he would walk around, his pants would randomly burst open because of this steel truss. Yeah.
They
didn't have that problem in high school. Can't say
This
I did
is
it.
every middle schooler's excuse for puberty. No, so
I'm
his
like,
pants
nah.
So his pants burst open. Therefore, and I love this, the entire community in which he lived was familiar with what his scrotum looked like.
Oh, no.
And so once again, a pig is born in the area. And the townspeople thought that the deformed eyes of this pig
What's up with the eyes?
I know, it's always the eyes. Resembled his scrotum.
What?
Yeah, somehow
eyes
the eyes of this
resembled
pig.
the scrotum.
I have a lot of questions about what this dude's scrotum looked like.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but have you seen the meme of that dog who has human eyes looking at the birthday cake all pissed off? Have you guys seen that? So there's a meme of this poodle that has these weird-ass human eyes looking at this birthday cake like, the fuck are you doing here?
Oh, dear.
And I'm like, where does that play into this?
That is clearly the descendant of Thomas Hogg. And
Look it up.
So, anyways, they are like, this pig looks like this dude's scrotum, however that comes to be. But in this case, Mr. Hogg is like, yeah, I'm not confessing to that. There's no way I did that. And so, since they don't have the second witness of a confession, they do not hang Thomas Hogg. They give him a good flogging and send him on his way. And I just, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. It's a wonderful, weird snapshot of American history.
I do like how you said a good flogging, like it's one of those, Cinemax softcore good flogging.
A good flogging. Ooh, that's a weird late night if you're watching that one. But yeah, so he thankfully was not hanged for his supposed crime. But one of the best things about this too is that because of this panic about dudes making it with pigs and other livestock. At the time, there were laws in certain areas that men were not allowed to be by themselves with livestock, which I think is just a hilarious rule.
Come on.
Yeah, they just thought dudes could not.
Such a 10 things I hate about you moment. I would, if there's no one else, then there's no sheep. Are there sheep?
Are there sheep? Pretty much. Yeah.
So that scene makes more sense.
Yeah, there you go. Kristen, you got one more for us?
There you go. Oof. I do.
Choose.
I have two more. Just one?
I don't know if we're gonna have time for two more though.
Let's
so
do
pick
one
your
more.
favorite of the two.
All right, I'm gonna go with. Actually, this might have been one we've already talked about before, but I don't care. We're gonna talk about it anyway because it's literally one of my favorite things that's ever happened in history. Because it's so ridiculous.
Oh, good. This is delightful.
In 1932, Australia was facing an invasion. An invasion, and you say, what? I've never heard of this. And that's correct, because
Obviously.
it was a domestic sort of invasion.
Oh, I'm glad you're telling this. This is good.
It was a domestic sort of invasion.
Yes.
And it was an invasion of emus.
That's
think,
right. I like
I know you're saying, Kristen, emus are birds. And I'm like, aye, they were birds. So the countryside, these farmers have these emus who are like, it's like a plague on the land. They just destroy. I just kind of scratched myself with my nail.
What did you do?
This is what I wish we had someone acting this out.
Invading everything that's happening, right? They're eating crops. The farmers are like, hey, Australia, people in charge, please help us. And Australia's like, we got you. We're going to send in the army. And it's a legitimate act of war against the emu population of Australia. So the war comes. Yes. An actual war, people. Okay? I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. Okay? So this war happens.
No, it is crazy. It just crazy. Actually happened.
Yeah, it happened.
Machine guns. Okay? They bring in like a Gatling gun. If you know what a Gatling gun is, it's like the first machine gun. So it's a circular type of gun.
The crank.
That they crank, like, they're shooting a shit ton of bullets at once.
It's how they ended Last Samurai.
It's
also something I was watching the other day.
But yes, it is how they ended Last Samurai.
Here's the thing about emus. They're strangely bulletproof. Apparently, because as many bullets as these
Magnificent Seven. That's what I was thinking of.
Men who have been to boot camp, okay, they cannot hit these birds. They travel in packs. They are
dinosaurs.
They are they're bulletproof.
She's right.
So the farmers are like, hey, bro, what are you doing? Army's like, don't worry, we got it. We got our troops. We got the machine gun guys. It's gonna be great. It's not great. The emus fucking win, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the troopers even said the only way to kill an emu is to shoot it when its mouth is closed from behind, or if its mouth into its mouth from the front. That's literally the only way to kill them, because they had like this. They were like, okay, so the first time, like, all right, we've clearly done this wrong.
How are we not fighting ISIS like this?
Right? Like, we are doing this wrong.
Like, how have we not won? So they're like, okay, here's the thing. We're going to ambush them. We have intelligence from our intelligence bird community. The bird spies. At a certain spot, we're going to ambush them. It doesn't work. And you're like, why can't you kill them? They're birds. They're just birds.
They're fucking birds. Shoot them. They're fucking birds.
They're birds. But they're oddly bulletproof, and even like commanders in this army are like, oh, if I could get an army of emus, we could win. Right, but your people, thumbs. You should.
What? Where did we go with this?
Opposable thumbs are overrated.
Yeah, Dr. Sis.
Guys, it's amazing that Australia lost a war in 1932 to some emus, which is funny because when I was in 4th grade, I had a classmate who loved emus and birds.
Ugh,
as a matter of fact,
that classmate is a serial killer.
He used to eat bird seed at lunch.
Bird seed?
And I was like, hey, weirdo. He's like, it's basically trail mix. I'm like, it's not.
No, it isn't.
Okay, how many of us all had that weird kid in elementary school who did some weird shit like that? Oh,
not eat bird seed.
I'm sorry.
I knew a kid with a Kool-Aid ring perpetually around his mouth, but never bird seed.
I guess I just went to a kid that burned crayons with blacktop.
He loved emus. And I'm like, if I had known this story, here's the thing about history. If I had learned this story in 4th grade, I'd have been like, bro. You're evil because emus are bulletproof and fucking crazy, which is what you must be.
Or he was right.
There we go.
He was.
Hashtag unpopular opinion.
Yep.
Hashtag unpopular. And he wasn't even the kid that signed my yearbook from the wall.
What?
Yeah, this one kid pretended like the wall signed my yearbook. He was a weirdo.
What? You went to... I don't think your school should have been normal.
Well,
everybody, I understand, everybody wanted to write about how they were the first to sign to your crack and everything, but the wall? That's a new one.
The wall. Yeah, he, would talk to the wall. Now that I think about it, it's probably sort of weird.
So yours had emu worshippers. The wall.
Yeah.
I don't think...
You're really shattering my image of Whitetopia right now.
Yeah, I think the school you went to might have been Miss Pellegrew's or whatever is peculiar.
Miss Pettigrew's.
How dare you, Jerry?
You might have actually...
It was Whitetopia.
You might have actually gone to Miss Pettigrew's school now that I think about it. Yeah.
You want me to sing you our song?
Yes.
We have gills.
Like
is that part of the song?
Yeah.
It goes like this. It goes, running raccoons, we are the best. Running raccoons, the best in the West. See our banner big and true. Bright with the colors, white and blue. Blue for truth and royalty. No, wait. White for friendship, we all see. Run in school, we all love you. So cheer for the white and blue. Rah, rah, rah.
The fact that elementary school had a song baffles me.
Wait, mine did too. Do you guys want to hear it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We are nice, happy kids. We are helpful and kind. We are thoughtful at work and at play. All of us are smart and we do our part. We are helping each other each day. Every heart beats true and we'd like to tell you cooperation is here to stay. Where many friendships are the rule. Keep your eye on the Federal Street School.
Huzzah!
We were the Calvary Crusaders. I'm pretty sure the Spanish Inquisition was somewhere in our song.
Oh, bye.
Yeah. Anything with the word Crusaders in it was nixed.
That's always.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our song was terrible.
That's always a little sketchy.
You guys.
Valedictorian.
History. Listeners, can I leave you with this one
history repeating? Yeah.
Listeners, can I leave you with this one charge?
Can I be real a second?
Can I be real a second? So the people feel a second.
Just feel a second.
But seriously, I do want to tell you something. Okay. If you're listening, and I know you think it's because I've drank a bottle of wine, but it's actually very serious.
Speaking to the mic.
She's good. I like the close up.
It's actually really serious. Here's the thing. History teaches us so much about where we are presently. We think that Hillary and Donald are like, oh God, this is so crazy. America's never faced this. But We've faced things like this before. History has faced things like this before. And if you don't look to those instances in which you have two candidates that maybe you don't love, but you got to pick the one that's not going to just fucking screw you over the most, look to that and learn from it, because sometimes people pick the one that screws them over the most. And I think that if people were better students of history, I think that if we taught history in a way that was engaging and it taught people to think more critically than in just facts and right versus wrong. And the fact is that life is gray, people. There's things that are not necessarily true. There's things that it's murky and it's complicated and it's not easy to see, like, here's the clear line. So I think that if we learned from our past, we could easily decide better about how we go forward. And I hope that we do that in going towards it. And I know some of you don't live in America. Probably most of you do. Actually, like 8 of you probably do. I don't know how many people listen to us. But if you do, like, be informed, you guys. Like, it's super important. And I don't want to be a preacher. I know you guys probably hear from this a lot. But the thing is that I hope that, and this is serious, like from my heart, I really hope that we can, I just really hope that we can be informed and move forward in a way that's smart and not just like, oh, I know that guy's name, I'm going to vote for him. Like, oh, I think he's crazy, I'll vote for him. It's like, no, like, think critically about how this is going to affect not just you as a white person, but think how this is going to affect you as someone who's not white. This could be detrimental to the way that they live their lives, and that cannot stand.
Like,
and so
seriously.
I hope that we can do that.
We've
Think
been
about
drinking
someone other than yourself, and I think that you remember your neighbor, and I hope that you do that. And that's what I want to say.
Like, we've been drinking, but that's a very sobering thought. What Laddie brings up is very important. What we need to do, what we need to concern, it needs to not just be about us in our current situation. It needs to be about the whole of us. It needs to be about the person on the left. It needs to be about the person on the right. Like I said, we've been having some fun, but what Laddie said is very serious.
And, on top of that fantastic closing message, let's point out that, you know what, maybe you're not comfortable with either presidential candidate. Maybe you're convinced that you need to vote your conscience on things. And, as much as that bothers me, that's fine. But what I need you to do is make sure that you don't abstain from voting for everything else. Vote for the people in your local government who are going to be advocates for you, for the people around you, who are going to make this world a better and more equal place, that are going to make it better for all of us to live in. And that's how we're going to change things. The president may be the figurehead on top, but locally, pay attention to who is there on a local level, because that's what affects all of us. That Congress is made up of the people that you don't know anything about. Study up. Pay attention. Let's do this.
This year especially, there's a shitload of bills that have been passed, especially if any residents in California. There have been a shitload of bills involving education, after-school programs,
veterans,
all that stuff, veterans, a lot of stuff, Government Brown has been passed. And if you have a say on it, make sure you do that. I work in education, so I know there have been 6 bills passed, a historical record for amount of bills that have been passed involving education or after-school programs. Please make your voice heard if you like them or if you don't. I, of course, am on the probe, but I don't want to speak for everyone else because I am a biased person. So please make your voice heard about that kind of stuff. It makes a difference in our country.
Yes. You guys, voting, I mean, our fake cartoons, if you look at our Facebook, if you look at our Twitter, our cover pictures are Historia and Votron. And those, honestly, are not by accident.
Yes.
They're because we want you to vote, and we want you to understand why you vote. And those two things are very important. And so I know this has all of a sudden gotten super real on you, but I want you guys to understand that. Like, it's so important to us, and we hope that you join us in this. And I know there's been campaigns this whole week about asking people to register to vote. So if you're not registered, like, don't let your voice not be heard. Like, get out there.
Well, it's easy enough to register through text message now. There's actually text messages now where you can register through text message.
They cannot make it easier for you. Like, do it. Like, seriously, do it. Join us. We're obviously voting. Like, one of my favorite things about, I was more excited about the opportunity to vote when I turned 18 than the opportunity to do anything else that comes with 18. Like, I was pumped.
Even more than porn,
Even more than porn.
I was so pumped about being able to vote. And I want you guys to do that. I want you guys to be informed. We all do, all of us. It's amazing. And you know how much we love Hamilton. You know how much we love history. You know how much we love all of these things. And all of these things involve civic duties. I don't know if you told us, I was on jury duty once, and it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. I've never been on jury duty again. I feel like it's because I'm too excited about it.
That's the reason.
I don't know, but
yeah. So
guys,
I think that's a great note to leave it on, everybody. We want you to get out there, vote, do your civic duty, pay attention to what's on the ballots, not just the president. If that disillusions you, check out everything else, all your local representatives, because they're the ones who are going to make change.
Go to your city council meetings.
Go to your city council meetings, vote for the propositions in your area, and pay attention to history, because nothing that happens now is new. It's all happened before, and we have the chance to make something new. So let's do that. So
yeah. Don't
for this
lose
week,
emus, America.
Don't lose to the emus, America. For this week, I am Votron.
New hashtag, fuck emos. Register to vote.
Whoa. You said emos, which is untrue. I love emos.
No, fuck them too. But hashtag, fuck emos.
Jerry.
He's Jerry Fuentes.
I'm Chris Lateral, a.k.a. Historia.
Peace out, everybody.
Hysteria.
Take it easy, kids.